picture of him. But one of the things I remember about Bill Walker is, and I would visit him often, and I'd go knock on his door, and Bill would come to the door and, "Oh, Joe!" It's a big, it's like I was the prodigal son. I just come back after 7 years, you know. And that was Bill, and he was an old, he had been in the Navy, he had tattoos, but he worked out in his garden. And he had lost his wife fairly recently in the time I first met him. She was sick, and as part of the story, in his care of her, he had to decide whether to keep medical insurance or house insurance. So, I mean, for Bill Walker, that wasn't a choice. He kept the medical insurance. And one day he was out in his garden, and he turned around and looked, and his house was on fire. It was seriously on fire. Matter of fact, it was very close to being a total loss. And as the song will say, a neighbor asked him, "Bill, what are you going to do?" And Bill's response was, "I guess I'll sell the dirt and hop a train." But there was people around, including Linda Calvert and Connie Powell, and many, I'm sure probably some other people in this neighborhood who said, "No, we're not going to do that. There's part of this house is still standing, and we're going to fix it up." And the effort started to do that. And people every weekend would go out to Bill's house, and this was just a bunch of volunteers, some with some knowledge, some with no knowledge. And over months, we pushed the effort along, and finally got to a place where we needed what we call the license trades, which is electrical, mechanical, plumbing. That is those things that you require a license to do, get through that final hump. But we couldn't get there. We didn't have the local expertise. But we had a couple of interviews from Dallas Morning News, and one of them came out and interviewed us, and I made that comment. And there was a woman who I never met, and she read that article, and she had some kind of influence with Robert E. Burns, who's a huge general contractor. I mean, look at the towers downtown, probably Robert Burns would built one of them. And she called Robert and said, "One of your superintendents out there and finish the job." And that is what happened. And the other part of this story that's connected, and some of this, they say the truth should never stop you from telling a good story. So if I'm not quite accurate, I'm sure the people I'm going to mention right now will just keep quiet. But there was another group of people who read that article, and they made a decision that that was the kind of neighborhood they wanted to live in. And they moved in next door to Bill Walker and were instrumental in easing him through his final days on this planet. That was nice. So that effort of neighbors getting together and helping drove Linda Calvert to eventually go to the neighborhood association and say, "Hey, I want to start this thing called Fix It, folks," because at that point the demographics in this neighborhood, which we're talking about 1993, 94, somewhere back there. There's a lot more people my age now. I'm going to be 74, and they're working class kids. And that's when houses were, the property values were $15,000. And there was a lot of elderly people in there who couldn't necessarily afford to hire somebody to get things fixed. So Fix It folks got some money from the neighborhood association. Linda led the charge. And Bill was on every project that Fix It folks did from then until the time he couldn't get out of the bed in the hospital and died. So I wrote a song about it. And I'm going to sing the chorus. And we sang it at the funeral if anybody was there. And it's not very complicated. It goes like this. So the chorus goes, "Never met a stranger, he could not make a friend. Smile that he wore till the very end. Half-shaved face and a hug to say hi. Billy, it's hard to say goodbye." Try it with me one time. "Never met a stranger, could not make a friend. Smile that he wore till the very end. Half-shaved face, hug to say hi. Billy, it's hard to say goodbye. Light at the window no more. He doesn't answer the door. No other face will seem right in that place. Still I look as I walk past. Here comes the chorus. Never met a stranger that he could not make a friend. Smile that he wore till the very end. Half-shaved face, hard to say hi. Billy, it's hard to say goodbye. Wife that he nursed till she was gone. Fire that almost took his home. One neighbor asked, "Oh, Bill, what will you do?" "Guess I'll sell the dirt, I'm free." Never met a stranger that he could not make a friend. Smile that he wore until the very end. Half-shaved face and a hug to say hi. Billy, it's hard to say goodbye. Neighbor said we'll help rebuild your home. Like a phoenix out of ashes, it arose. He's not with us today, but his spirit still stays. Help your neighbor with his load. Last time. Never met a stranger, could not make a friend. Smile that he wore until the very end. Half-shaved face, hard to say hi. Billy, it's hard to say goodbye. Last part again. Billy, it's hard to say goodbye.